Hello, I am Miss Kim, also known as Miss Farrell. I am going to be assisting in teaching as I have been for 10 years with PBMA and LOGP. We are embarking upon our youth empowerment sessions, and this topic is youth excellence. This is a topic that I taught on last Tuesday, and I redid the video. Well, I'm redoing the video to touch on the points so that all of those who did not make it have the opportunity to gain the same knowledge as the others, because you will be tested on it. Questions will be asked. You do have a folder that you're going to acquire that you're going to have all of these empowerment lessons in. And as I told the other students, Miss Kim is real good about giving gift cards to those that are keeping up with their stuff, or they can answer a question regarding any of the talks. So what I did was I went ahead and re-scripted everything that I did on last Tuesday. That way, no one has an advantage over anyone else. And so we are going to start. So before doing this lesson, I did go in prayer and I asked God, what is it that I need to talk to these kids about, these youth about empowerment? So, no, well, youth excellence, excuse me. So I am going to use the acronym of Dukes and Debs. Okay, so we're going to start off with you should have received a paper that I passed out that night. Miss Rob may have texted to you or may have emailed it to you. If not, just get a pen and paper really quickly so that you can write these things down. These are the points that I'm going to go over utilizing the acronym of Dukes and the acronym of Debs. Okay? All right. So the first quote on the page that I provided says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit." And that was said by Aristotle. So how you act is a habit. It needs to be habitually consistent in a positive manner. It needs to be something that you just naturally do. You don't have to fake it. It just comes right out because it's a part of you. And that's what we're trying to teach you, is to have excellence just be a part of you, and it's not something that you have to try to do. It's just a part of your personality. So, so we're going to start with what I call the rules of excellence. So the first D, which is in Dukes, stands for, and this is what you write down, don't compromise your character. Don't compromise your character. In the meeting, Devontae gave the definition, don't change yourself, because I asked the students, what do you think your definition is? And Devontae said, don't change yourself. That is spot on. That is correct. You don't want to change who you are to fit in with everyone else. You should have your own identity. You should be your own person. Do not compromise what you know is the right thing to do just to fit in with someone. Okay? And it's easy to do that. Not picking on you guys because y'all are young, or you adults still do it to this day. I know that you have heard the saying, keeping up with the Joneses. That's a saying that people have when people are buying things that they can't afford, or doing things that they're doing to keep up with other people or to impress other people that they don't they don't even know, or they don't even like them just cause for status. And that's not what excellence is. Excellence is not status. Excellence, striving for excellence, is quality. Okay? So always remember that. Um, so you don't want to compromise your character, who you are, to try to be accepted by people that may not even like you or are pretending to like you to get what they want or to get what you have. You have to be mindful of that. Your goal is to make sure that you keep your character intact so that when others see you, they know who you are and not who you're trying to be like. So I'm going to give an example that I used to give the LOGP girls when I taught them, the high schoolers. So say you're in the grocery store and you are with your friends and y'all cussing, y'all acting up, y'all not, you're not showing good character. And you come to eye to eye with an older lady, and you look at her and you continue on with your character, or you may even roll your eyes, or you may be like, man, whatever, and then you go for an interview next month or a couple of weeks later or whatever. And when you walk into that interview, you are dressed to the nine, you look good, your resume is on point. But then all of a sudden, when you get in there and you see the interviewer, it's the same woman you saw in the store. So do you think you're going to get that job? No. Because regardless of how well you speak, how well you look, how well your resume is, she's going to remember your character. She's going to remember your personality. She's going to remember how he or she is going to remember how you acted. And so, no, they're not going to want you to be a part of their establishment because they're not going to want to take the chance on you. So understand that it is very important. You need to make sure that you watch your character and maintain a level of excellence. Okay? Are we ever going to achieve excellence? No. The Bible says to strive towards perfection. We're supposed to try to get there. So when you strive for excellence, excellence automatically becomes a part of you. Okay? All right. So the next letter is U in the word Dukes. This stands for understand who you are and whose you are. So I asked the students again, what do you think that meant? So Jaren said that be yourself and be what your parents expect you to be. And that was a good answer. Like I said, I've been a part of the organization for 11 years. And in these 11 years, we take pride in our name. Positive Black Males Association and Ladies of Great Purpose, we take pride. We've always gone places and exemplified excellence. We've always received good reports from individuals saying, oh, those kids are well dressed. Oh, they're uniformed real well. Oh, they are eloquent in their speaking. Oh, they are hard workers. They feed the homeless. We've always had positive things said about us, and we want to maintain that reputation. And it's very important that you understand that we need to maintain that reputation, not only for our identities, but also we have people that want to sponsor us. And people are not going to want to sponsor or invest in an organization where children or youth do not appreciate the organization or do not care to strive towards the mission and the goal of the organization. People are not going to want to give up their money towards scholarships for you if you act like you're entitled and you don't want to do the work. Anything worth getting is worth working for. And so we have to make sure that in our personalities and in our character that we strive for excellence and we remember who we are. You have to understand who you are and whose you are. Okay? A name means a lot. I remember my grandparents used to tell me, don't go out there and embarrass my name, because my name is connected to you. And you have to remember that. You don't want to embarrass your name, because once you taint your name, you all know people that have bad reputations. And once your name is tainted, it's hard to get that back. It's hard for people to trust you and for you to get that back. So you need to make sure that you maintain a positive name for yourself. Another thing about knowing who you are and whose you are a child of God before you're anything else. And you don't want to embarrass God, and you don't want to exemplify a personification that compromises your integrity of who you are. Am I saying we don't mess up? Am I saying we don't slip? Am I saying that we don't have some jacked up attitudes sometimes? No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. Because we are human, and we do have our days. But you know the difference between when somebody is having a day or when that's part of who they are. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? So you have to make sure you understand who you are. And I know that's hard at a time right now, being a teenager. It's hard to know who you are because you're still coming to know who you are. And you have a bunch of personalities around you. You have your parents' personalities, you have your friends' personalities, you got social media, you got all of these things around you. And I feel sorry for your generation, because y'all are on constant download, stuff in your face all the time. Your brain's constantly processing because you're looking at the screens, you're looking at the TV, you're looking at the phones, you're looking at the laptops, you're looking at the tablets, and it's just constantly down. You're constantly downloading. But you have to remember that the personalities and the things that you see in other people are not you. Yes, you may take some positive personalities from people, and make it your own, but that's not you. You have to learn you. And the only way you'll be able to do that is sometimes you just got to shut off all the noise and get to know your likes and your dislikes. Not like and dislike stuff just because somebody else like and dislike it. There's some foods that I love that my friends don't like. There's some foods that we both like. But you can't base what other people's likes and dislikes are and make them your own. You need to find out what it is and know yourself. And make sure you put positive people around you so that you can positively find out good things about yourself, and not constantly downgrade yourself and demean yourself and think that you're worthless and compare yourself. Stop the comparisons. That's got to stop. You have to understand who you are and know who you are. Your generation did not have the advantages that we did, as far as it being right there every day for us, being able to read a book, being able to have physical education, being able to have recess, being able to get all of that stress off of us. Unfortunately, you all are constantly, again, on download, and your brains don't get the rest. So that's why it's important that you have to be intentional on exercise and being intentional on joining a sport or joining the debate team or doing something outside of looking at these screens all the time, because it's not good for your brain. I remember my children's doctors at their annuals, checkups, they would ask, how much screen time are you getting a day? And they don't even hardly ask that anymore, because they know that in the schools, y'all are on the laptops all day long. They know that after school, you're on, and during school, You on your phones all the time. And you're constantly not allowing your brain to rest. In your brain, there is something called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland only works in the dark, and it helps to reactivate your mind. And if you do not allow yourself to really get the rest that it needs, you're going to always feel fatigued. You're going to always feel tired. You're going to always feel overwhelmed. You need to make sure that you take care of your mental health. That is your responsibility. And that's part of knowing who you are. Okay? All right. So, parents, while I'm saying this to them, you need to understand. And for those that may be watching with your children, you need to understand the pressures that they are dealing with. They're not dealing with the same pressures that we dealt with when we were growing up. And I'm not saying that means that you be lighter on them and not hold them accountable. No, they need to be held accountable. But there's going to be some times where you're going to have to say, hey, you need to put that phone up for a couple of hours while you while you wash some dishes or clean your room or listen to some music, so that they can utilize different parts of their brain and not just utilize and overwork one part of their brain. So parents, that's part of your responsibility too, because you're stewards over these children. And not holding them accountable and making them and helping them to have an entitled attitude, that's partially your fault as well. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever seen me speak before, but I'm very direct. I'm very direct and I'm very upfront. And I'm going to be truthful with you. I've been in the mental health field for years, and I've seen so many cases and so many situations. And so, what I'm not telling you is just something that's my opinion. It's something that I've seen, facts that I've seen come to fruition. So, parents, I need y'all to do better too. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna use K. Let's see. Next is the letter K in Duke. So the K in Duke stands for know your short-term goals. Know your short-term goals. So in knowing your short-term goals, when I asked that question to a student, what they thought that was, they stated, don't forget what you got to do. That's just as simple. Don't forget what you have to do. And one of the good things that you can do to help you not forget what you need to do, write it down. I understand we have these computers and we have these phones that remind us, and it's perfect to have an alarm, to have reminders in your phone and your calendar to remind you to do things. That is perfect. You need to do that as well. But you also need to write it down. I'm going to give you an example as to why. So think about when you were in elementary school. A lot of the things that you retained, you wrote down. It wasn't because it was on a screen. It was on the chalkboard, and your teacher said, write this down. And when you wrote it down, you utilized multi-sensory learning. You used your sight, you used your auditory, which is your hearing, and you used your physical, which is writing. So it helped you to retain it in your brain more because you used different parts of your brain for the multi-sensory learning. Okay? So this is what you have to do for your daily life as well, so that you will be successful and work in excellence. I'm gonna give you even simpler example that you all can relate to. Video games. Okay? When you're on a level of a video game, you make sure that you pay attention to every move that you make so that you can get to whatever key it is to get you to the next level. Now, you may die a couple of times before you get to that next level, but what you remember is you remember what steps not to do and what steps to do in order to get to that next level. Okay? That's the same thing with life. It's the same thing. You have to use wisdom and remember the things that you did that didn't work and don't do them no more. And remember the things that you did that did work and do those things so that you can get to what it is that you're trying to get to that much faster. It's the same thing. So when you are knowing your short-term goals, that's a short-term goal. When you're playing that video game, you know the goal, you're trying to get to that next level. Same thing with school. Your short-term goal is to get to the next grade. So you need to write it down and make a plan as to how you're going to get to the next grade and be consistent with it. Okay? It helps you stick. Helps it stick into your mind. All right. And one thing you don't do when you're playing that game, like, you don't stop. You don't say, man, I'm not gonna ever get this. I ain't gonna play no more when you playing it the first time. No, you're not. You're not gonna do that. You're gonna keep going, and you're gonna keep utilizing the skills that you use to get to that next level, to get to that key so you can get to the next level. And that's what you got to do in life too. You can't just give up at the first sign of difficulty. You have to work at it. Unfortunately, yes, your generation is in the microwave generation. You think everything is supposed to come quickly and expeditiously at the touch of a button, but that's not real life. You still have to work towards your goals, and you have to put things in place to get to your goals. Okay? You also have short-term goals. You'll hear short-term goals can be like 3 to 5 years. And Miss Rob said that you guys are going to be working on a vision board around the 22nd of February, and at that time we'll be talking about short-term goals, as far as that is concerned, as to where you want to be in the next 5 years or the next 3 years. And what goal, what are you gonna do? What would you like to have? What would you, where would you like to be? Where would you like to go? Those things. So we will be talking more about short-term goals. Always remember that your devices can be a hurt or a help. It can be harmful. It can be helpful. So as I stated earlier, you can use it to make notes. You can use it to set alarms to remind you to clean your room, to do your homework. It can help you with the overall management of your time. It can help you set times to remind yourself to stop scrolling. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing Facebook. I'm gonna stop doing Instagram. I'm gonna stop doing TikTok right now. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. You can or I got to do my homework starting at 8 o'clock, so I'll be done by 10. Alarms can help you stay on track. Okay, and help you towards your short-term goals. Okay, no one is perfect, but we're supposed to strive for excellence, as I said earlier. The E in Duke stands for expect more from you. Expect more from you. So I asked Morgan what she thought that meant, and she said expect the best from yourself. And that's what you need to do. You need to always expect the best from yourself. Stop being your own worst enemy. Stop being your own worst enemy. You should expect more of yourself. You should want to stop limiting yourself. Maya Angelou said this, and I'm just giving a summary. She said, if you say you can, and you say you can't, you're right. If you say you can or you say you can't, you're right. Doesn't that make sense? Because you are speaking that upon yourself. And the thing is, you're making what is called a declaration. You're making an affirmation. And if you say I can't do it, then you're not going to do it. And if you say you can, you'll work hard enough to get there. But you don't say you can't. You got to at least try. You have to strive for excellence. You have to at least try. You have to at least acquire the tools that you need to help you complete whatever it is you're trying to do. And you get those tools from wisdom. Older individuals, people that have done it before, positive people. That is where you get your tools, and you can get and I give this example. So when you want to find something that you want to buy, okay, you'll go to Amazon, you'll go to Walmart's website, you'll go to about 50 different websites to try to find whatever it is that you want to get. And whatever information you need, you price comparison, you'll do all of that. Why can't you do that for yourself? Why can't you do that for your homework? Because this is to help make you better. Okay? Have you noticed that you find all the energy in the world to do what you want to do? But when it comes to the stuff that you need to do, oh, all of a sudden you tired, all of a sudden you sleepy, all of a sudden you hungry, all of a sudden you don't have any energy. That's a bunch of excuses. That's a bunch of excuses. Now, I also notice if a price tag is put on it, oh, you'll find some energy too. Yeah. So you ought to want to do it to better you, because it's making you better. All right? You want to make sure that you go outside of the box to excel above and stop limiting yourself. Okay, so the S in Dukes is the next thing. And that is set attainable goals. You want to set attainable goals you can reach in the time frame that you said. A good example is if you got a project that your teacher is giving you at the beginning of the school year and she's giving you a month to do this project. Don't start working on this project the Thursday before it's due. You had a whole month. And then you're wondering why the teacher don't want to give you extra time or give you extra credit. Because you had ample amount of time to get it done. So you want to make sure that you set attainable goals. Okay, well, if I need to get this project done, I need to start it XYZ time. Okay. Talked about the vision boards. You want to make sure that the goals that you set are attainable, so you don't discourage yourself. You don't want to discourage yourself from your goals. Okay? So I'm going to give another good example. So, Jaren's been a part of the program for a long period of time. And if anybody knows anything about this program, we pay people for this program. Okay? We pay people. When you strive for excellence, we pay people. So we have this challenge that if you make straight A's, then you get paid. So we had this challenge 6 weeks, and Jim was like, man, I'm getting this $50. And so what happened was she didn't realize it, but unknowingly it helped her to sustain attainable goals. And in doing that, she unknowingly began to gain more education. She was able to retain more knowledge because she was forced to study. By studying, she retained more knowledge, even more knowledge. By retaining that knowledge, it made it easier for her to take her tests. And then by making it easier for her to take her test, it prepared her to go to the next level in her next grade. And now it has become such a habit that it's not as much of a chore to study for her, because she trained herself to study. So by her training herself to study, that's something that's a part of her now. It's not something that she has to try to do. It's part of her. Yes, monetarily, she did come up, but she also acquired a blessing of achieving a habit of excellence, like I was talking about earlier. Anything you do in 30 days consistently becomes a habit. So anything you do in 30 days becomes a habit. So you want to make sure that you do positive things, not negative, because that can become a habit too. You want positive things to become to have good habits. Okay. The next letter is the D in Debs. So that D stands for don't treat yourself worse than you would others. Don't treat yourself worse than you would others. One of my best friends says this to her kids all the time. She says, if you wouldn't say it to another person, don't say it to yourself. You have to ask yourself, is it going to elevate or is it going to diminish? Is it going to make me better or is it going to degrade me? And even if you would say it to somebody else being mean, which you should not be, that's not excellence. Still, you don't say that to yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. You are supposed to make sure that you love yourself. Okay? Because before you can love anybody else, you have to learn to love yourself. And it's very important that you do so. Many people in this dispensation of time always try to love other people to make themselves feel better about themselves. But you have got to love you first before you can really truly love others. So don't treat yourself worse than you would anyone else. We are really big about affirmations. Me and Mrs. Rob, we are really big about affirmations, and we used to have our young ladies, we'd give them a mirror and they would write positive affirmations about themselves on it so that they could speak positively into their lives. So you would every morning, male or female, you need to get in the mirror and you need to speak life into yourself. You need to speak positive to yourself, because there's enough negative to tear you down at school, enough negative to tear you down on social media, enough negative around you. You have to speak positivity into yourself. So you have to look in that mirror and say, hey, today is going to be a good day. Today I'm smart. Today I will finish my project. Today I do like myself. Today I am not ugly. Today I am beautiful. Today I do not hate myself. You need to put positivity in you, because what you put more inside of you is what's going to come out. Okay? I had to learn that as a teenager, and I had to learn that throughout my life. I had to even relearn it in my 30s as a grown woman. So this is something that you're going to be constantly reteaching yourself, constantly affirming yourself that you can accomplish your goals and you can make it. You have to know your worth. And you can't let people get in your ear and tell you negative things, like you're not good enough to do this, or you're not good enough to do that, or you don't have the resources to do this. Understand that our ancestors were slaves and they had very little, and many of them created their own businesses and were successful in doing so because they believed in themselves. You come from that same lineage. You come from that same legacy. So make sure that you do that for yourself. Okay? I gave the example of the CEO back in the 90s. I don't know if he's CEO now, but back then he was. And he started out as the janitor, the CEO of IHOP. He started out as a janitor. And he worked his way up as CEO. So there's nothing you cannot do. You are the ones that set your own limitations. Yes, there may be some obstacles that may come in your way. Yes, but there are ways to overcome obstacles. Okay. All right, so the E in Deb is evaluate your friend circle. Evaluate your friend cycle. Friend circle. I cannot emphasize that enough. You need to do a quarterly check of your friend circle. That means every 3 months. Whether the people in your circle are pushing you to be better or are they pulling you back. Evaluate your friend circle because they can affect your standard of excellence. Remember, I said earlier, bad company could corrupt good judgment. So if you have a lot of negative people around you, then you can be pulled in that direction. However, like I used to tell my kids, if you find that you're the smartest kid in your circle, you need to find a whole new circle of friends. Okay? You want people around you that's going to elevate you and encourage you to be your best self. You want people around you that's going to rise up, help you rise up to another level and push you into excellence. So now, B in Deb. B stands for be optimistic. Asha gave a very good example when I asked her what she thought that meant, and she said, be sure of yourself. So I gave an example of a glass of water. You have a glass of water that is that has a half amount of water in it. And it's all in how you look at it. You can see the glass as half empty or you can see the glass as half full. Majority of everybody, when I drew it on the board, said that it was half full. But one student had an excellent answer. He said it's both. I want you guys to understand that you need to be optimistic. I want you to be more optimistic. I want you to understand that seeing the glass as half full is optimistic. Seeing it as half empty is pessimistic. That's negative. But being more optimistic is realizing that you even have a glass. Make sure you understand that just you even having a glass is being more optimistic because that means that eventually that glass can be filled all the way up. Make sure you fill yourself all the way up with positive things and make sure that you have a positive outcome. Say to yourself, you know what? I thank you, Lord, for the positive things in my life and help me not to gravitate more to the negative. Because negative seems to be highlighted more than a positive. You can have a whole bunch of positives and then one negative thing happen and it just totally messes everything up because you have put your focus on that positive. Stop focusing on the negative. Focus on all your positives and it'll diminish your thoughts of the negative, and then you learn from the negative and then you move forward. And then stay away from the what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if? What if? What if can go both ways. It can go positive and it can go negative. You want to make sure, what if I do this and complete it? Not, well, what if I do it and it mess up? No. You need to think on the positive things. My dad used to say all the time, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Some of you don't understand what a fifth is. That means a fifth of liquor. Because people are always talking about if. You cannot focus on ifs. Focus on the negative ifs. Focus on the positive ifs. If I do this, then I'll get this result. Some of y'all take geometry and y'all see that in journey. If this is this, then it's that. So you need to understand that you have the ability to do that in your life. And that'll help you strive towards excellence and empower yourself. The last letter is S, and that is the S in Debs, and that is strive for excellence. Strive for excellence. As I said earlier, one of the students stated that when I asked one of the students, and when I asked them about striving for excellence, I said, well, what do you think this means? And he stated that it means to move towards something. I used to run track. Okay. Yeah, I know I don't look like it, but I did. And I used to run it with the 100. I used to throw the shot put. I used to do the long jump. I used to throw the discus. And when I would do the long jump, I would run as fast as I could and I would jump. And unfortunately, I would land on my butt. And they measure you where your first imprint is. So the first imprint will be my butt. So, of course, I would lose because other people were staying stationary and they were moving forward. And there was a couple of times that I did fall forward, eat a little sand, and then and made it. But the bottom line is, I strived, I tried, I worked toward it, to be better for myself and for my team. And so you got to strive for excellence. Go towards it. Make sure you do the best that you can with what you have. And if you can get more, push yourself even further to get it. Try for it. This ties into the last quote on our page, and I had the group read this with me in the meeting. And it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, whatever is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So even the word of God tells you in Philippians 4:8 to think on the positive things, to have a positive mindset. It said to think on what's true, to think on what's noble, to think on what's right, to think on what's lovely, to think on what's admirable, to think on what's excellent, to think on what's praiseworthy. Think on the positive things. Okay? And that's what we're expecting from you all. We're expecting you to strive for excellence, to think on the excellent things. And we don't want you to do it just for the gala. We want this to become, as the first quote says, a habit, a part of your personality, so that not only do you represent yourself well, you also represent the organization well. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know and apply this to your daily life. Have a good one.